3:30, so we'll kick off. Any apologies?
Councillor Mealings is gone.
And Councillor Blackie.
Yeah, Councillor Blackie.
Give the move.
Moved the Mayor, seconded Councillor Cairns. Put it all those in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Conflicts of interest, anybody, any conflicts? No. Minutes of the last community recreation. Somebody prepared to move. Moved. Councillor Rubin, seconded Councillor Cairns. I'll put it, all those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Any matters arising from the minutes? Seeing none. There is a note there that we were at 3.3 before we do deputations, which is we received the workshop notes on 23rd of July. Somebody prepared to move. Councillor Cairns, seconded Councillor Ward.
I can't.
No,
I can't.
Only
I'm looking at my portfolio.
All those in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. And then we'll go on to deputations. Tammy, Katie, Biddy, welcome. No doubt Grant's discussed with you. That's 10 minutes. And
Yep. Cool. Kia ora, I'm Katie. I'm here on behalf of Ocean Access Advocates Ropu.
And I'm Bid Riley, so we're teaming up for the
we
Ocean
record. Did you mind
Oh,
just pushing
sorry.
that? That's all right. Thank you.
Okay, me mahi tahi tātou mō te orana o te katoa. We should all work together for the well-being of all. We just want to start with this whakatauki, since it's Māori Language Week, and we're grateful for the wisdom of our tangata whenua.
or Ocean Access Advocacy Ropu. Sounds like OR, which is the very thing that we believe access to the ocean achieves. We are a group of waimakariri locals, collectively working toward better beach access for people to enable everyone to enjoy the ocean and their holistic benefits to be found in this place. Our vision is a world where everyone can experience the transformational potential of the ocean, where independence is paramount and adventure and well-being are encouraged. Go where you want to, when you want to, with who you want to. Independence and participation is key.
So this is a picture of the accessible beaches that are here in Aotearoa, and we just brought out this part that talks about our Christchurch region. So here in Christchurch, in the greater Christchurch area, there's some wheelchairs available at Sumner, and there's beach matting and wheelchairs available at North Beach Surf Club. And there's nothing through the east coast up to Wellington. So we think this is an awesome chance for Waimakariri to get on the map.
Key messages. We know the power and the healing capabilities that the ocean provides, and advocate for equitable access to beach and coastal areas for all people. Accessibility is a human right. Throughout our life, our mobility changes, sometimes within a blink of an eye, and we need to focus on how to enable everyone to enjoy the ocean. Our approach is to educate to advocate in the hopes of enhancing understanding and therefore collective action. To be very clear, we're not talking about vehicle or viewing access, we're talking about people's access to the water.
This is a picture of one of our group members during our beach map trial that we ran over the summer that we're going to talk to you about next.
The Accessible Moby Map trial, we held it from the 18th of November 23 through to the 3rd of March 24. This was a 10-metre lone map from C1 South, and special thanks to Tania. to test out at Waikuku Beach, to experiment with placement and environmental considerations. The map was loaned and it was set up by OR initially. Goals to educate people. We want to build awareness and create some community around this. We are grateful to have on support the lifeguards and the volunteers at the Waikuku Surf Lifesaving to support the trial. Waikuku Beach is the main patrol beach in the Waimakariri area, which aligns with our goals of safe, accessible access to the ocean.
So the map came, was sent down, and we picked it up from here at the council with the support of Martin, and we took it out to the beach and worked with a whole group of volunteers to put it out, and by trial and error we worked out what worked and what didn't work, and Biddy made a sign and we got lots and lots of feedback about it. And we're really grateful to the Surf Club. We contacted New Zealand Surf Lifesaving and Canterbury Surf Lifesaving and went to Surf Club meetings to find out what was the best thing for safety. And that's why it's at Waikuku, because it's with the patrolling, it's much safer for people to be swimming and surfing and doing their ocean activities. Trialled out the map, see how it was cope in the sand and how it would go. And lots and lots of people, so thousands of people through. This is a picture of all the young tamariki and rangatahi at the surf club, learning about the map and really educating about awareness of accessibility. This is one of our really massive goals. This is some of the feedback that we got through our social media. So we have Instagram and Facebook, and we're regularly talking to beach users. Just want you to know lots of the positive words there. Awesome, love it, fantastic idea. My favourite one is, I love this, I wish I had it for my dad.
Our feedback from surf lifeguards in the summer of 23-24, one comment was putting the mat out and monitoring it was no hassle at all. It was easy, I'm all for it. Easy to incorporate into day-to-day controls. It's so good seeing people get into the water.
We also talked to North Beach because we wanted to talk to a local beach about the operational requirements, because we recognise there's lots of logistics around this. As a resident association, they applied to the council for funding to purchase the mat. The regional surf lifeguards monitor it. It's rolled in and out daily. They have this awesome signage up at the front on their container storage at the back of the surf club. In terms of the operational requirements of the mat here in our Waikuku, one is the beach environment. We know it's changeable. This is a picture of council managing the sand in the summer. It's really important that we work on this access to the beach in terms of the IRB for the surf club for emergency access, and we know it can be done, and we've seen great evidence of this.
The operational and mat checks that need to be formed. This information is directly from Tania Bauket, who's an occupational therapist from C1 South Managing Director. She was the supplier of the accessible Mobi matting in New Zealand, and this is what she had to say as of the 12th of September 24. It is recommended, if possible, to do daily visual inspection of the mat to identify any areas of concern when met with the matting. This is a visual only, 5 to 10 minutes. A more thorough inspection should be carried out weekly with actual physical checks of the matting, and that is a 15 to 30 minute check. The mat will be a council asset. We have been informed by WDC that volunteers checking the mat have no liability regarding usage. Operational comms, it could be set up at council, and volunteers could use a QR code system to report into the council about any operational checks on the mat.
And so in terms of that, we were asked by the Waimea District Council to think about if there were any volunteers that would be supportive of checking the mat. And so we've been asking our supporters and locals and surf club members and all sorts of people in our community. And this is a list of all the people that were willing to put their name up today to say that they were happy to do checking of the mat on a voluntary basis. Here's some more people. So we've got 40 or 50 people and we've only been asking for 3 days. So that's just us. We haven't put it out on our social media or anything like that at all. We just wanted, this is just a list of people straight away. So we're pretty stoked with the level of support.
We have a vision of Waikuku Beach becoming an accessible ocean hub in the Waimakariri. Para surfing is now an Olympic sport, so adaptive surfing opportunities could be done locally. What action is needed? We need people to recognise the challenges many people face in independently accessing local beach environments and work together to change that. Access to the Waimakariri's natural resources for all community members, young and old. The ocean is rich in holistic benefits. Healthy people means a healthy community. We need funding and ongoing council and community support to establish and maintain safe access.
The next steps that we would like to see is that Waimea District Council approve funding to purchase accessible matting to enable access from the concrete in front of the surf club to the ocean. We want the council and the community to work together to ensure this is operational for the summer of 2024 and beyond. Next week is Mental Health Awareness Week here in New Zealand. Their slogan is "Community is what we create together." This is an awesome opportunity for all of us to do something that benefits everybody. Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much for that. Very good presentation. Opening up for questions from members. Mr. Mayor.
Well, firstly, thank you for the presentation, and really good to see that the trial did work and it had some successes there for you. What sort of cost is involved to provide the matting as you would like to see?
So in terms of, we don't have the most up-to-date quote, Ish has that, but we have been advised that it's about $1,000 a metre, and C1 South have said that they would donate the 10 metres that we already have to us, which is really generous. And we estimate that we would need an additional 40 metres to be able to get to the ocean, and to provide it's highly recommended that we have some stuff that comes sort of perpendicular to the mat to enable people to have their wheelchairs there when they're off swimming and doing their activities. So it sort of goes down and has a T shape. So yeah, 40 metres.
Do you know if there's, just from your knowledge, what sort of external funding might be available, if any, to support this? So obviously you're asking the council to fund and provide it, but are you aware of any other funding sources that we might be able to help you access to achieve this?
We haven't looked into any specific funding sources at this point in time, because we've been trying to work really strongly in a partnership model with the council, because it would be considered a council asset. We're not a charitable trust, and we're not in a position to apply for funding through Raft Foundation or any of those things. And we haven't been in a position to approach businesses for corporate sponsorship or funding or something like that, because we've been working with the council to we needed to know what we're doing before we approached organisations like that. Our purpose at OAR has really been in the advocacy space for a small group of volunteers, so we haven't been able to access funding.
Yeah, I just wonder if you're aware that council's consideration of funding is their annual plan, which isn't until February next year. So you're talking of being in place by 2024, unless I'm assured the staff knows something different. That's when it would be considered. We're not able to consider that easily outside of it. So just, are you aware of that?
Yeah, and we've been indicated in meetings that we've had with the council that there was funding allocated within the current year's budget. It might not be for the whole length of the matting, but there has already been funding allocated in it. But that's something that and that we'll talk to further, that's outside our scope. We are aware of the funding considerations in terms of the annual plan, and we've been providing feedback and all the different long-term plans and all the different things that we're able to provide feedback into.
Thank you, appreciate that. And just through the chief, the acting general manager and our chief executive, if I could ask, what is the next steps our staff are looking at, and is this going to be a staff report that will be coming to us,
Well, we've got a workshop.
which we're going to talk about this at the end? Right, thank you.
Councillor Cairns.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for coming along today. In terms of the length that you've measured, is it from the viewing platform or is it from the actual sheds that are there?
It's nothing to do with the viewing platform. It's from the viewing platform as a gradient which goes up to look at the ocean. Our purpose is to enable people to use the ocean, and the path, if you have a look on this diagram here, there's a purple path. So there's the green path towards the side of the surf club, which is a hard metal path, and then there's a big concrete pad, and then the purple or the red is where the matting would go from to enable access. It's in, it comes out from this picture here. If you could see the surf club building, there's a big an extra length of 6 metres of concrete now from that, and it would be from the edge of that matting to be flat. The platform is nothing, we have not been involved in the platform.
So in terms of, so if it's a total of 40 or 50 metres, that would be a very large roll. So does the cost incorporate the cost of actually a machine that will roll it out as well? And in terms of storage, you'd have to store it somewhere, I'm assuming. Have you spoken with the surf club to establish as to whether or not they could store it on site, or will you have to build another building?
We definitely have. It would look like it was, as you said, like on a pool roller type thing, and that would be attached on the outside of the building because the surf club don't have enough room within their building to do it. So it would be attached to the outside of the building. If you see on that picture, there's a sort of a bit of a concrete bit that comes out. On the other side of that is a block wall. So it would be attached to that and have a metal cage around it with a lock box, and so that it could be wound up or unwound if needed, but also have we're looking at thinking if it had an attachment on it that they could attach it to their all-terrain vehicle that the surf club had if it needed to be go in and out for safety reasons, so that it would enable everybody to be able to do that task rather than having to have brute strength as per se. So yeah, we've considered all those. That in terms of the funding, that part would be additional, but that would be something that as we work our way through, that we would be, looking, we're about action, so we'd be looking to see if people would volunteer or help with that or sponsor it or help it, all those kinds of things. Yeah. So does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
Great.
Just briefly, I was wondering, Mr. Chair, I know that it's out of order, but we've got the workshop, which I appreciated we were having. Wondering if we could do that earlier on so that the parties could stay to.
I was going to.
Okay.
I was going to.
Good on you, Mr. Chair.
Good
Good on you, Mr. Chair. Well done.
Awesome.
Yeah. Any other questions from members? No? Well, thank you. Look, that's excellent. As you now know, you probably knew anyway, we're going to have a workshop to discuss this, and there's going to be obvious questions around budget, but permanency of the matting, whether it's better to do something else as opposed, and I'm sure staff are going to have answers to those questions, and we would obviously like you to be here. We have got we've got a set of minutes in public excluded that we've got to do, but then we'll get on. So what I'm suggesting is that we get rid of that, then we can devote whatever time's required to this subject. So I prefer to get rid of the public excluded, albeit we'll have to kick you out of the room for a 1 minute. If you don't mind us doing that.
That is absolutely fine.
All right, but we're not there yet. I'll let you know when we go into public.
Okay.
So you're welcome to sit in and listen about aquatics and what have you, because they're the next reports that are coming out. But I'll let you know.
Thanks.
All right, no, thank you. So, we got libraries. Mike?
Kia ora koutou. Thank you. It is with great pleasure that I'm presenting our libraries update. I will take the report largely through, but I'd like to bring your attention to a couple of points. One being our fantastic National Poetry Day event, which drew around 100 people on the evening of the 23rd of August. So we've had a number of classes teaching school-aged children writing skills, and they've been contributing to some, they've been submitting their poems to a journal that we have produced. So they've spent a lot of time in the libraries over a number of sessions and submitted their work to a literary journal, and so that event was the culmination of that being published, and it was well attended by families and educators, and it was just a really nice event. It demonstrated some phenomenal logistical skills within the team in terms of accommodating such a large group. We spent quite a bit of time moving around existing shelving, which won't be around too much longer without shelving replacement project happening. So our team are definitely looking forward to that, but it was an absolutely phenomenal event, and I would like to acknowledge the contribution of Jason Clemens and our team, who very ably edited that journal. And it's a really lovely physical thing that you get to take home when your writing is published, and I'm sure for some of those students that are participating will facilitate the love of literature and writing, which is very cool. 4.2, so just an update on dementia-friendly libraries and our work accredited with Alzheimer's New Zealand as a dementia-friendly network. We're very, very close to formal accreditation, so we expect that in late November we will gain that accreditation. So that means that we're an early adopter here in waimakariri. I think there are just a number of other library networks that have worked with Alzheimer's New Zealand to gain that accreditation. We've got a number of groups that we've established to work with Alzheimer's and dementia sufferers and their families and welcome them into our libraries. And many of these people have had a long established connection with our network, have been with us a very, very long time, and it's fantastic that they can return to our spaces and be welcome. In terms of the experiences that we're offering for them, we've been working on a new collection. It's called Suitcase of Memories. So those are there are three things. There's one at home, on the farm, and in the garden. And so the on the farm resource is basically a collection of books, photographs. There's a couple of wire strainers and various things as part of that collection to elicit some memories, and it's a really lovely thing for them to work through with their families and caregivers. To 4.3, the establishment of our robotics club. So this has really gone from strength to strength over the last few weeks. So we've got a group of regular participants from local schools. So they weren't known to each other before the establishment of this program. They've got to know each other, and they're learning key STEM skills. So STEM being science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and they come together to solve problems using robotics kits. So instead of just sort of free playing with various technologies, it's quite a structured environment, and they're given a design brief. So one recently was how can you use a robot to clean up rivers, so it has a sustainability angle to it as well. And so the idea is that these children will go away and research, and they use our books, and they engage with our spaces, and they solve the problem. And so they've been working collectively on that with the view that they will then compete regionally as well. So for some of these children, they can't afford these devices at home, so it's a really special thing to be able to offer it in that setting where they can get that value out of those access to those technologies and build some of those skills that lead to future interest and potentially a vocation in one of those professions. We recently collaborated with the Greater Christchurch Schools Network and Christchurch Suppliers to offer a podcasting program for school children. So there's around 20 school children that are part of that program. Podcasting is incredibly popular in that age group, and this is primarily focused on 9 to 12-year-olds. And so it's a facilitated session where they learn how to record and edit podcasts and then publish those, which it's around specific topics where they engage with books and research and present to their classmates. So it's been a great way of facilitating those connections with our traditional offerings, with our book offerings. So it's a great way of students learning about a topic and translating it for each other and presenting it in a way that is very relatable to them. So that's it. I will.
Questions? Councillor Redmond.
Thanks for the report. Hello. Paragraph 6.1 on page 25 of Diligent. I wonder if you could just explain, we've got here, new to this budget overview is the addition of the development contributions revenue line, specifically linked to the extension of the library, and no revenue was collected in July, as this is a new development contribution. The library extension, I think, is in year 4 or beyond of the long-term plan. Where does this fit in, or how do these DCs end up in the library?
Yeah, so at the moment there's no contributions charged in the current year that would fund money into that month. Under our contributions policy, it goes out 10 years in advance, so it goes out to 2034, and it goes 10 years in arrears. So any expenditure that's incurred over that 20-year period, development contributions are charged for. And so that's why you would see revenue coming into the account this year. So any new dwellings or anything that's charged for, that's subject to development contributions, so that revenue will be charged in this year. Is that, I've got to the end roundabout.
Yeah. So is that money ring-fenced just for the library? And
That's
if
right.
so, how much is there?
Nothing at the moment, but when you get to that year, whatever the growth is in terms of new dwellings, that money will be held in a special fund account, and when that project occurs, it will be transferred into the account at that stage. There's an accounting rule which is really says that the contributions need to be recognised in the year that they come in, but what we do is we work them back out, put it in a special fund account, and when the activity, the capital works occur, we bring it back in that year from the special fund account.
Councillor Cairns.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks, Luke. There's 3 questions I have today. In terms of the numbers, you talk about 4.4.1, and that relates to 8,637 visitors over the last week of the Kids Fest. What would be the normal numbers going through the 3 libraries for a week? And are you monitoring the likes of the late nights as well? Like I notice if you don't have an event on a Thursday, it's reasonably quiet. The same, I'm not sure about Friday for rainy road. I just want to establish as to, are you keeping a record of all the numbers during the days?
Yeah, we are. So we have a big accounting solution which has 98% accuracy, and so often over our busy periods, so during school holidays, those volumes can go up by a third to sometimes even double, depending on what we've got on. We're just in the process of compiling some data as part of Public Libraries New Zealand National Data Collection Project. It's quite early work. We're still compiling the data, but it's evident that we've had an increase of 24,000 physical visits over the last financial year. So we are getting very, very busy.
So increase of 24,000, what's the base?
The base was 200,000 visits.
200,000. Okay.
Over the previous financial year.
Fabulous. Right. The second question, in terms of the Kaiapoi Robotics Club, you talked about the students gaining access to, is it computers, what is it, and are those assets owned by the library, or are they third-party assets or computer programs and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so they are owned by the library. They're really heavily subsidised, but we have access to robotics kits. So some of them are bigger Spike. You're absolutely more than welcome to come over and they actually but they are, so they sort of appear like Lego or sort of plastic kits, but they have motors and various gears and things attached to them. Anyway, to computer programs.
Cool. And the final thing, comment about Jason Clements, huge congratulations to him in terms of what he's doing in the libraries, in terms of, you have undersold your report as well. You didn't talk about the maths and arts display, you didn't talk about Peter Langland's as well in terms of his book review and that sort of stuff. So you have to pump up your report even more than it is. But in terms of Jason heading to India, is that a self-funded trip, or is that being funded by some other means, please?
That would be for Jason to comment on, but it is self-funded.
Fabulous. That's good. Congratulations, Luke.
Any further questions?
Happy to move.
Happy to move. Move, Mr Mayor. Seconded, Councillor Cairns. Mr Mayor.
I can just endorse the remarks of just made by Councillor Cairns. Actually, a very busy and active place, and when you look at the activity, can't help but feel proud of the what goes on, including today. I popped in for Te Reo and Kaiapoi Barra School, and even our Waiata group present. It was fantastic. And then you go into there's an exhibition, creative fibre exhibition in there as well. Our libraries really are extremely well used places that reflect our communities. And it's so good to see young people doing all sorts of things, including virtual reality, which next time that's happening, I'd love to know.
Yeah.
I'd love to come and give that a go. So thank you to you and the team for what you're doing. I think it's superb.
Councillor Cairns.
I completely agree with everything you've said, Mr Mayor. I was in the library yesterday in regards to Te Reo Maori, and Rangiora High did a song and also haka, and by crikey, it was, your hair was standing up on the back of your neck. It was just so impressive to see those students performing. And again, in a library, you don't see that sort of thing in a library. It's always shh, but not in Kaiapoi, or not in the libraries out here. Keep up the wonderful good work that you're doing, Luke, and your team. Jason, he needs a real good pat on the back, as do a lot of your other team. They're doing some great work. Thank you.
Want to apply? No, I'll put it. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Thank you, Luke. Appreciate it. Go on to aquatics. Okay.
I don't believe it was. Is there an aquatics report?
Yes.
Citizen report. So yeah, well I'll flick through through it, I guess, community facilities portfolio. So there's, he's had a good response as far as the vacancies are concerned. And so there's 60 candidates applying. Doesn't mean we'll get all 60, but yeah, there's 60 that are applying. Working closely with the Ministry of Social Development to identify opportunities for funding, training and development of employment opportunities. So as most are aware, you know, we've been under a bit of pressure with the aquatic facilities, with particular sickness and staff availability. But yeah, hopefully it's going to get better and better. So any questions of me with regard to it? Please don't.
I'm not going to make it too
gentle.
During the visit, with regard to you being dunked in the water for the lift, at the same time Chris Ruth Centre identified other issues at Dudley, and with regard to some of the setups of one of the rooms, are those changes going to be implemented in the next few months, or what are the plans? Or yes, no, we'll have to wait.
A question for next
time. Okay, thanks.
Councillor Rubin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If you could have a look on page 30 in Diligent, paragraph 5.3 and 6.1, I just wondered if the wrong dates are in that report. The latest customer survey was April 2023. The next survey is scheduled for May 2024. And of course, we're now in September 2024. And in 6.1, the financial position at the 31st of July 23 and August financials are still in draft. I'm wondering if 2023 should be 2024.
Yeah,
Most of those.
Those were previously. I'm just wondering whether the right report's been picked up here. The dates were the only. We went through management. Went through management team. The dates were picked up. I don't think they've been changed. So you're right. The 30th of July is 2024, and the survey dates are also 2024. The May one, I think, was supposed to have been
2025, maybe.
Yeah, I have to check on the May one. I'm not sure about that one. It probably is May 25.
So is this information correct and the dates are wrong, or is it an old?
The information is correct. Those dates in 5.3 are incorrect.
Any further questions? I'll move recommendations. Executive Councillor Cairns, nothing to further to add. Councillor Cairns.
Only to the extent that I wish to congratulate the team. They supported the Cane Shield competition in Kaiapoi a few weeks ago, and even Matt turned up with chairs and that's the stuff for people to come and watch. So yeah, really thanks for the report and the team effort in running that event. Thank you.
Further, no reply. I put it. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Now moving on to correspondence. I have not been given any portfolio updates. Obviously, Councillor Black is not here, so unless somebody has something in particular with regard to green space. No. Community facilities, and as mentioned, that would be me. I've got a Southbrook Sports Club meeting at 7 o'clock tonight, which I'm not particularly looking forward to be honest. We had their AGM probably a month, 6 weeks ago now. There were legitimate questions raised with regard to some accounting issues. I've been trying to address, some of them were addressed at the AGM, others are still in the process of being addressed. And yeah, hopefully more will come out at tonight's meeting. Unfortunately, at a personal level, I did cop some criticism in that nothing's going to be achieved by a hasty or rushed answer, because it's all going to come up in the annual plan process if they still want to have council that assist them with insurance and what have you. So I saw no need to rush answers. Unfortunately, the person that was fielding the questions didn't feel the same way and thought he should have received answers yesterday, and I just wasn't prepared to go there. So yeah, it's just been a difficult time managing that, and as I say, I'm not particularly looking forward to tonight's meeting because the club is a group of volunteers, and I really don't want to brass anybody off because you can't afford to lose volunteers in this day and age. So it's a matter of trying to be a diplomat while looking after council's interests. So yeah, but otherwise everything else is going well. Chris certainly hasn't indicated to me any issues. I did notice a wet chair at the stadium when I was there watching the basketball last Friday night. I hope there's not further issues with the roof. There was a chair mid-court that did have a slight amount of water on it, so that when I get a chance I'll raise that. So that's from me. Any questions? No? We'll move on to community development. Councillor Cairns.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've already sent a 4-page report through, but one thing I'd just like to highlight in the report is that the volunteers, and sort of follows on from what you've just said, Mr. Chair, and that is that volunteers, huge amounts of time goes into our community from volunteers, whether it be Citizens Advice or Darnley Club. I think 31 volunteers work at Darnley Club alone. It's just extraordinary the amount of people that put time into the community and get nothing from it in terms of dollar value. The other thing that I'd like to just highlight in the report that I've sent through is the number of over 65s turning up at Christchurch ED with malnutrition. So that's a really huge thanks to the food banks that are actually putting food parcels together. There's some real issues with regard to food or seasonal food or nutritional food in the community. There's a real issue with it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Cairns. Any questions? No. And the next one is arts and culture, which is Councillor Blackie again, and obviously unless somebody else has something to contribute, Al's not here. No, I have no urgent general business. So as I mentioned, what we're going to do, there is another item on the agenda too regarding the playground for public excluded. I don't expect, because there's budgetary provision for the playground, I don't expect it to take too long, and then it's just confirmation of minutes. So I'll give you guys a yell. So I'll move from the chair that we move into public excluded for the reasons outlined. Second, Councillor Redmond. Put it. All those in favour, please say aye. Next.